Going on the road. Going on the road. Going on the road with Harley and Mona. RV broke.
Okay. We're coming to you from where?
Strataca, Hutchinson, Kansas. We're going to an underground, 650 feet deep, underground salt mine. So they have a tour that we take a 90-second elevator ride down.
How
down,
deep?
650 feet. I don't know if we're going to go 650. That's how deep the mine is.
Okay. And we'll be recording this on my phone because for the first time ever, I forgot to put the SD card back in. So it'll be like on, you know, the smaller version of this.
Probably
So.
could have run to Walmart and got an SD
No.
card. We couldn't get
Anyway, we'll never do that
Yeah.
again. Hope we're recording. Okay, bye. Oh, we're going down. They went up.
Well, they're up above us.
They're standing on your head.
Where are you all?
We're here.
We're going down. Yeah, record the darkness.
Doing 120 on the back of the motorcycle. It's not scary.
I can feel the air blowing now.
Ooh, that was light, too.
I see some lights. Look at this.
Do we get unloaded first?
I see light.
Or is it FIFO, first in, first out?
I see light.
Some visitors tell us that breathing the salt air helps people with allergies. The salt in our mine has not been processed like table salt. Please don't lick it. And for your safety, don't pick at the salt walls, even if the salt is loose. Sorry, no smoking, tobacco products, or e-cigarettes.
Going around, just keep making your way down there to the gallery. That's where somebody will give you further instructions on where to go. So if you guys have any questions along the way, just look for anybody in a blue or silver hard hat.
In carving out this hole for the maintenance shop to enable mechanics to work on the mining equipment. A companion task to the undercutting is the drilling. Large 8-foot drill bits are attached to a drill to bore holes within the bits, which is the wall about to be mined.
The miners use those to drill in a straight line. To mine in a straight line. Huh. It glows.
See, now this makes me want to get one of those chocolate salt lamps. You know that they sell?
Oh, yeah.
They say they're supposed to be good for your allergies and stuff.
Wow, you can see through it.
Breathing better already.
Oh, they were a rock bar.
So what is this?
A Deutz air-cooled engine.
Oh.
Probably because they don't want water and salt. Wow.
But it has a bee. It has a bee in it.
It's all salt in the trough there. The conveyor belt. There go the workers. No, just kidding. That's a tour. So this is like where they stored goods from the Cold War, for the Cold War.
Kids and adults practice drills to know what to do if there was a nuclear threat. They learn how to find shelter, cover themselves, and stay safe until the danger passes. However, there's also about being prepared for emergencies of all kinds, like natural disasters. It taught people how to stay calm, help each other, and be resilient. So why was the civil defense important? Well, it gave people peace of mind, knowing that they had a plan in place. It helped them feel safer, more confident, even during uncertain times. And you know what? Even though the Cold War is over, some of the
Fallout
lessons from
can
civil
reach your
defense still
farm.
apply today. It's always good to be prepared and know what to do in case of emergency.
So that
This
badge
is
I
very
got from
cool.
Vic is a civil defense badge.
Oh.
The same thing.
Oh.
It's in the motorhome.
Oh.
It's pretty cool, huh?
That is cool. Bubbles of water become trapped in pockets of air. As the seawater evaporated, this water, which is called a fluid inclusion, is as old as the salt itself. Wow. In this petri dish is a streaking of the oldest known living organism on Earth. Doctors Reland and Rosenweg grew Virgibacillus species 293 from cultures that began in petri dishes just like this. So this is also used as a storage facility. Wow, that's really neat.
Warner Brothers Television, look at this. Oh, you see this? Warner Brothers Television 35mm films.
Oh, wow.
Original negative.
Friends. Oh, funny. Oh, Friends.
There's nothing in these, they're just prop. That's probably, those are empty too, it's just all prop.
Yeah, they're probably here somewhere.
Wow, look at that old camera, or whatever that.
I mean, there is a problem.com. That wasn't a funny thought, it was just, that.
Are we?
Mr. Chill or whatever. His Mr.
Stranger Things.
Wow. Batman.
Oh, Batman is that.
Who's this guy here? He looks like Don. Don, is this you? Agent Smith mannequin.
I don't think I ever saw that.
Matrix, right? Oh yeah, I watched one of those and I watched
The Dark Knight, I think.
Superman. Man of Steel.
We're going on a train ride.
Attention! Attention, please. As we get ready to start our journey into the mine, remember, for your safety, you must remain seated at all times. Keep your hands and feet inside the train, and do not raise your hands above the top of your head. All aboard! Salt Mine Express.
Oh, it's all right, I think.
In the wall to your right is a bulkhead. A bulkhead is what the miners call a wall that was used to direct airflow. This bulkhead is made of 1.5-inch thick tongue and groove planks, supported by 6-inch by 6-inch timbers, and sealed with black tar paper on the backside to keep air from that part of the mine from coming into this side. It was slowly being crushed by the roof, but as you can see, it finally came down. On the platform are a couple of two-thumbed gloves. In the 1940s, when this area was being mined, everyone conserved materials for the war effort. The miners would wear the gloves until they wore out the palms. Then they would wear them on the opposite hands, using the second set of thumbs until they wore out the backs of the gloves. Now, stories have been told that Mr. Carey, the owner of the Carey salt mine, was always after the miners to pick up their trash and not contaminate the salt. Well, apparently a miner rolled up these gloves and stuffed them in a blasting hole, because that's where we found them 60 years later when we opened this part of the museum. Now, if you look closely at the salt wall to the right, it appears there's another glove stuffed in a blasting hole. Everything that comes down in the mine stays in the mine. And if you look at the lit area, you'll see that this is even true of mining trash. Now, we know this area was mined in the 1940s and used as a break area in the 1950s. And we found many name brand products in this trash pile from that time period, and some of which are still around today. There are a couple of things that we noticed here. One, there's a calendar from 1953 on the floor by the rocks on the left. And two, when we found it over by the pillar, the great trash can, well, it was empty. We consider all these items to be artifacts, which only proves one person's trash is another's treasure. As you look to your left, you'll see a rare sight, what the miners call a roof fall. The pieces on the floor used to be the roof. But over a number of years, the salt started sagging away from the compacted mud layer above it and eventually fell. Now, even though only a few rooms ever develop a roof sag, everywhere in the mine that people will walk, drive, or ride, we monitor the roof, and sags are removed when necessary. Can you imagine how it must have sounded when this roof fell? And costly. Our train crew ripped up and hauled back abandoned rails and ties from the mine that were used for our train track. Almost 5,000 feet of rail for the track you're riding on. At the next curve, we'll pass by other original cars used with the rail system, including a hand-wheel-operated rail bending car. In case you were wondering, trash isn't the only thing miners left underground. And apparently this area was used as a restroom. Oh, no fancy porta pots here. And they weren't very careful with the toilet paper either. And this is one reason we say, don't lick the salt.
Gross.
As we round the curve up ahead, two spotlights will come on. The first, on the left, will highlight a stack of empty cardboard dynamite boxes. Then on the right, you'll see a pillar that is scaling or spalling. This means that the salt is breaking away from the wall. And like roof sags and floor heaves, This is a natural occurrence in a salt mine. And as your ride continues, keep in mind, we've tried to leave the mine just as it was years ago. Now, when we get to the station, please remain seated when we stop and do not get off the train until instructed to do so.
Now right here to the left, you can see this orange electric locomotive. This was nicknamed the Galloping Goose. You can see that long gooseneck-like arm attached to the DC power cable and galloping because the springs were so tightly wound on that thing. Anytime it would start and stop, it would jump up and down almost as if it was galloping. So miners didn't like it too much. They only used it as a backup engine. Right here again to the left, you've got these old salt carts labeled CSC for Carry Salt Company. Each of these carts could hold 4 tons of salt each, and were all loaded up by hand by a group of miners referred to as muckers. For each cart that a mucker would load up, he would receive 1 brass chip that he could turn in topside for 50 cents each. So a good mucker could make about $4 a day. Lastly, we've got the powder car, which was used for carrying around explosives. You can see an assortment of old boxes and bags that were used throughout the years. Now, originally, the miners used dynamite until they switched to ammonium nitrate fuel oil, or ANFO. This is because it was a little safer and a little cheaper to use, but the miners still, to this day, always blast down here in the mine. Now off to the right over there, you can see these walls with a sort of vertical wavy pattern on them. These are what the miners refer to as ribs. Each rib is equivalent of 1 blast each, and shows you just how deep the miners were blasting. So if you wanted to, that was about 8 feet each that they would blast. Now right above us, you're welcome to look up, and I'll drive slowly so everybody gets a chance to see. This is not a result of blasting, but a result of a machine called the continuous miner. The continuous miner uses a drum head that chews at the salt, making it so that the largest piece that would fall from the ceiling be about the size of a pea. This is a result of when water entered the salt bed millions of years ago. So during the time of the Permian period, you'd have the salt vein in the dry periods where it would form little cracks on the surface. Then water would come in and it would go into those cracks and form brine pools. Those brine pools would then filter out all the impurities in the salt. So the mud and the silt would sink to the bottom. The red salt would float towards the middle. I'll go more into what red salt is later. And then the pure salt would float to the top. Then afterwards, the water would evaporate and we're left with these different layers right here. Coming up here on the left is a gob wall, that's G-O-B. This is old dynamite boxes that are filled with salt that are then stacked together to form these walls. And they're done to help with airflow. Typically, when a miner is finished working in a certain part of the mine, they have no intention of returning to that part of the mine. So they don't want fresh air flowing in parts of the mine they won't be working in. They want it to flow to the face where they would be working. So they would stack up these walls, and again, that was done to help with airflow. Now, we'll see a couple more gob walls along the way here, but just know that this gob wall and the next one we will see, those are authentic gob walls that were made back in the 1940s. Is attracting all the stress from the ceiling, and it's slowly being pushed down by gravity. All the salt around it, rather than crumbling, is actually heaving up and around the pillar. This is very similar if you have a thing of Play-Doh. Put the Play-Doh on the table, push down with your thumb, what ends up happening? All of that Play-Doh will begin to heave up and around your thumb. Of crystallized red salt. And what gives it that very vibrant red color is often due to large concentrations of potassium and iron that gets mixed in with the salt. Usually during that crystallized salt pod process, the potassium and iron won't be as heavy as mud, so it'll float towards the middle rather than the bottom, and then it makes that red salt layer to mine it. Nowadays, however, most of the salt that is mined down here is mined as road salt. The road doesn't care what the salt tastes like, so the miners mine all of it. Coming up here on the left is a closer look at that crystallized salt pod. So you can really see the different layers here. You've got the mud and the silt at the bottom, the red salt in the middle, and then that crystallized pure salt at the top. That is probably about 99% pure salt. Everywhere else down here is only between 94 and 96% pure. Earlier, which now here in just a minute, you guys will get a chance to get your own piece of souvenir salt. I just have a couple of quick ground rules before I let you off the tram. Please do not climb on the pile. Please do not throw the rocks at anybody. If you see a piece that is kind of large, it needs to be the size of your palm or smaller. But if you would like a bunch of small pieces, we have bags on that table right there. You're welcome to grab one of those bags.
Going on the road.